King is back, baby. I'm on gas. Yo, Flex with it. He's fat.
You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to an unusual episode of the Turnbuckle Weekly
I don't like
Podcast.
how you said that.
Well, see, it's unusual because this is something we've never done before as a team. Today, everyone, I'm going to be taking over hosting duties solo because my guest today,
Oh, God.
WWE trainee, WWE trainee, WWA trainee, and co-host of the Turnbuckle Weekly Podcast, Leon. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. I was not expecting to be the guest on my own podcast.
Yeah, so a little backstory. We were supposed to have a guest. I won't spoil the guest because we are going to be having him next week. He had something come up with his job. Real life always trumps the pro wrestling world. So I had to pivot, and I've been planning this episode for a little while without you knowing. I've been planning this episode to have you as the guest. Because I think that, you know, being a fan and stepping into the world and being a podcaster, I call us wrestling journalists, you're going to have a unique perspective in this episode. And plus, all the things that we're going to cover today have been covered in our Let's Have a Chat episodes that only one or two of have ever been released. The subject matter of this episode has never been released to the public.
Gotcha.
And I think it'll give people an insight into your world and who you are. So I'm interviewing you today.
Lovely. All right, cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, so, you know, we started filming a documentary a while back, and then I made a boo-boo, and I got rid of that footage.
Good thing it's on the computer.
You told me it was all gone.
I lied.
Well,
I have some of it.
Well, yeah, we have a good bit of... I plan on resuming. The plan was to resume in January, but unfortunately Jake passed away and kind of put a kibosh on my plans because all of my creativity died. It's all gone. But I'm getting it back. I'm starting to see things every week that I'm like, oh, ooh, this is footage. And so we're going to get back to shooting hopefully tomorrow if I have my way. But today I just wanted to interview you because it was going to happen. It's bound to happen that eventually I'm going to run out of guests and I'm going to get you and Caleb on as guests. So this is where we're going to start today. So first of all, the first question, you know, we ask everyone here on the Turnbuckle Weekly Podcast hosted by me today is
Solo.
Where did this get started for you? Like, where did the love come from? Where did the passion come from? And then how did you get started with the WWA?
So it was kind of the same stuff that everybody else says. You know, they kind of saw wrestling at a young age. Which we've mentioned on previous episodes, which I find in retrospect the same with a lot of the guys in our locker room. Childhood wasn't great. My mom and dad divorced when I was probably 4 or 5. And I remember being so young and going back and forth between my dad's every other weekend and my mom's. And so, like, growing up was rough because I didn't have any brothers, any sisters. I was kind of, believe it or not, I was super introverted when I was a kid. I've gotten a little bit better now, but I'm still kind of on the borderline. But so growing up was really tough, and I remember being 3 years old. My mom and my dad were in an argument in the kitchen archway, and I remember being so little. And a lot of times when you're so young, you don't remember things. But it was one of those moments where I think it was a mix of trauma and heartbreak for me being so little. But I remember breaking them up, and I asked them, I said, why are you guys fighting? And neither one of them could give me an answer. And so it wasn't too long after that mom and him had finally separated. And as I got older, everybody in the locker room knows, I've been raised in church my entire life.
Yep.
It's something that I hold very dear to my heart, is my faith and my belief. And that over the years has gotten me a lot of criticism thrown my way, a lot of hate, especially in the world that we're living in today. Christians are not looked upon very gratefully anymore, very great at all anymore.
I do want to stop you on that one, though, just to add in. I think you can agree with me on this statement. I think that the problem is representation. Back in our day, well, my day, right? Christianity was not looked down upon like it is today, but that's because the representation was there.
Right.
You had people like Reverend, Billy Graham, and you had, you had people out there who didn't want to use this as a tool for hate,
right,
and as a tool for bigotry and oppression. And now today, I think the problem is these people have missed the mark so much that they would literally rather spit in their God's face than to follow his words. And that's something that I've always liked about you, is that, I have a lot of friends who are of faith, and the number one things that they're against are, they hate gay people, they hate trans people, they hate non-Christians, they hate non-Republicans, they hate this, they hate that, they hate this. And I've never heard you say you hated anything except like vegetables.
So that brings up a good point, and that's something that I was going to get to. Is I was raised that to be a Christian is to be as Christ-like as possible.
Yes.
And the biggest thing about Christians today is they have strayed so far away from what is supposed to be taught. And the way that I see it is, everybody in life, no matter who you are, you have stuff that you don't agree with. Mm-hmm. Stuff that you don't feel is right, but you exist with it anyway.
You do.
And so the way that I see it is, I look at the world and I see the way that it's going, and I see things that I don't agree with, things that I know isn't right. Stuff that I believe that if it were me, I couldn't live with.
Right.
But I also know that I'm not the judge. What place do I have to judge somebody?
Right.
And God put me on this earth to love people.
Right.
To love people. Love your neighbor as thyself. So, if I've got somebody, I work in retail, for example.
Yep.
So if I've got a customer that comes in and they're super hateful, and they're blah, 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 this and that, and you don't know this, blah, 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 blah. There's two ways I can handle that. I can kill them with kindness.
Yep.
Maybe shed a little bit of positivity on their day. Or I can go, well, I hate you and you don't have a right to talk to me like that, and blah, 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 blah. And then I think to myself, and everybody's heard it, what would Jesus do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, turn the other cheek, which people misinterpret what that means.
Right. So that's the way that I was raised. We have a lot of people in the locker room of all different beliefs, all different kind of lifestyles. And I haven't found one person in there that I haven't grown fond of.
Correct.
There's so many people, and whether they agree with what I believe or not, they don't treat me any different.
Nope.
So what place would I have to treat them any different?
Right.
Then I would be a hypocrite. Because do unto others as you would want done unto you, the golden rule.
Exactly.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. And that's one thing that I've really found so special to me, being in the locker room now, is everybody there knows what I stand for.
They do.
They know what I believe, but they respect me the same as if I believe the way that they did. And so that's how I was raised. I was raised very, very Christian, very religious. And so growing up, being in the way that I had grown up, all I had was Power Rangers, pro wrestling, and my faith. That's it. That's all I had.
Yeah.
And
sometimes that's all you need.
So I found comfort in faith and Power Rangers and pro wrestling. And I remember I got to an age, I was probably, 9, 10. And I had all of the VHS tapes of all the Power Ranger series that you could ever imagine. I had them all. But I remember I watched them every weekend every other weekend at my dad's. Mm-hmm. So eventually it got stale.
Right.
I was like, okay, well, Power Rangers is kind of done.
Yeah, you can only watch giant monsters fight a robot, so many times.
You can only see so many sparks and camera shakes so many times, and then it's over. But then I found pro wrestling, and I found that it was a never-ending story.
Yep.
It always was evolving, changing. So many different characters that were so relatable. With Power Rangers, and a lot of the guys in our locker room, huge Power Rangers nerds, so we fit right in.
So real fast, a real quick story. At the war in Litchfield, we were all out back, and we're having a big nerd talk, and there's a group of guys off to the side, Cortland Moore, a couple of the guys putting the match together, a little bit of how the sausage is made. They're putting their stuff together, and then we start talking about Power Rangers, and that crew talking about their match integrated into our crew, and then started being like, no.
They were like, what'd you say?
No. What season was it that Cortland was like, that was the worst season? I forget what it was. But he was like, that's
Mystic Force?
Mystic Force.
Mystic Force.
He's like, Mystic Force sucks, dude. And then we get MK Swift in there.
And then it was like Spider-Man and Batman. And so it's something that, growing up as a kid, I was afraid to be nerdy.
Yes.
Because you had all these cool kids that grew up with a lot of money, and their uncle was so-and-so, their dad was a sheriff or the mayor, or they own this business. So growing up and being alone and not having a mom and dad to go to and talk to, it was very hard for me.
Right.
And it was hard to find myself, my place in the world. And I remember being so young and struggling to find my place. And so I was like, you know what? I decided at probably 9 or 10, I really got into watching WWE. And I remember watching, I didn't watch the Flair Michaels match.
Yeah.
But I watched when Undertaker walked down the ramp, did the kneel in front of Ric Flair.
Character.
I watched that live. I watched Edge retire live. So I remember moments like that. A lot of my wrestling, I don't remember, but there's bits and pieces that I do. I remember watching TNA when Matt Morgan was still full-time, and you had the introduction of the Willow character, and then you had Joker Sting and all them guys. Beer Money had just split up. I remember watching them split up.
Yeah, it was such a good match.
I remember when Suicide had debuted, and then I remember the Suicide storyline. And so I remember watching pro wrestling at a young age, and I was like, I'm going to do that one day. Like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. And I've always, I guess, prided myself, I guess is a way to say it, on my ability to take people's doubt and negativity and turn it into my strength.
Right.
I am not one that when somebody goes, you can't do this, to go, you're right, I can't. I'm one that if you tell me that I can't do this, I'm going to be like, okay. But a few years down the road, when I do this, I told you so.
Right.
And so that's the way that it was all through middle school. And it was really cool, too. So it kind of blended later on in life because when me and Mom and my ex-stepdad who passed away a couple of years ago, when we started going to the church that I'm at now, there's a family that lives right beside the church, and they have 7 boys, all names starting with A. It's A, all down the line, all different ages. Well, I got close to some of those boys, and they had a trampoline in their side yard. And they said, hey, Leon, you want to come out and jump with us? I was like, sure. And the very first thing that they did, they were like, all right, I'm going to be John Cena, and I'm going to be Randy Orton, and I'm going to be, Mr. Anderson. And I just sat there and, I was like, oh, my gosh, these kids are wrestling nerds too. And so that's really when, I guess, it blended for me. And I really decided that, hey, wrestling is cool. Wrestling is awesome. It gets you through. And so I went through middle school, went through high school, fell in love with wrestling, bought all the WWE games. Yeah. I think the first one, the 2K game that I bought, was 2K14. And I haven't missed one since. I got 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up the line. I did not get Battlegrounds. That's the only one that I haven't gotten. And so I fell in love with the business all over again. There was a little bit of time where I fell off of wrestling too because of my mom getting remarried and us moving and trying to get back into school and, readjusting and my grandfather dying and my grandma dying and all this. And so I really had to cope. My stepbrother at the time was in the military, and he was going to Afghanistan and Iraq, and so I was worried about him. And so I fell off. And then back in middle school, it was probably the end of 6th grade, I fell back in love with it again. And I really made up in my mind, I was like, I'm tired of saying I'm going to do something and not doing it. I'm tired of playing into people's mind games of you're not good enough. And I finally made the decisions all through middle school, all through high school. I told all my friends, I was like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. And of course, when you're a teenager, your mind is ahead of your expectations or ahead of what you can probably do.
Always.
So I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to go work for WWE. It's going to happen.
You were close.
Going to happen. And like, you'll never make it to WWE. You'll never be a pro wrestler. Some of my friends had told me that. Like, Leon, you're too small. You're scrawny. You're never going to make it. And I remember it really beat me down because those were guys that I thought were my friends.
Right, yeah. They definitely weren't.
And so fast forward to last year, Independence Day. I'd always decided I'm going to go. Well, then OVW a couple years ago while I was still in school, it was probably my senior year, had a casting call for OVW. I was like, awesome, cool, I'm going to go do that. But then I saw that you had to pay. And it was like $4,000 to go to school. And I remember my heart sank because I was like, I don't have a lot of money.
Right.
My mom at the time was divorced again, and we didn't have money. We had money to put food on the table, right. a little bit to eat, pay the bills. That was all. And I got down again on myself. And then fast forward, I didn't stop wanting to. I got my body in shape after after we went to Independence Day last year. And
well, there was a little bit of a step in between there, but continue.
There was a little bit of a step. We had bought a trampoline, threw it in your backyard.
Started the podcast.
And then, so fast forward, I told Tabby, I was like, I want to try to start wrestling. And so I had been researching wrestling schools in the area, Evansville, Corden, Knoxville, and they were all just too far away. And I had finally gotten to the point where I was tired of putting myself down, hyping myself back up and getting down again, where I finally was like, I'm not going to wrestle. I'm just going to put it past me. I'm already 24, 25.
Right.
I've been working at this retail place and my back doesn't feel great. My legs are hurting and I've been lifting more than I should at work. And I was like, I'm just not going to do it. And then Independence Day rolled around. And I was like, and I had asked you, of course, you already were established with them. You already knew who some of the guys were. So we went, and then I was like, this is really awesome. And I just remember falling in love with not just pro wrestling in general, not the big stage, but I fell in love with the home size stage of pro wrestling, the independent scene.
Yeah.
Guys who I knew because of where they were working, where they were wrestling. Not that our company's a cheap company, because it's not. Our production value is insane.
It's incredible.
We do extremely well. But I knew that these were everyday guys.
Right.
I knew that these weren't guys that had millions of dollars. I knew that they hadn't been around the world. I knew that they were local guys. And I saw myself in a lot of those guys who I was like, these guys work everyday jobs.
Right.
But they come and they wrestle. Why can't I? And so that fire kindled up again.
Right.
Well, then I saw the casting call, but I didn't read the fine print. They were looking for certain people. So I hyped myself up, and I was like, I'm going to get in shape. Mm-hmm. So I started working. I was like, if I really want this, you're going to have to get off your butt and go do something about it. So I went and started doing something about it. And we got a good relationship with the guys, had them on the podcast, Ray, Chris. And I threw myself in there. I was like, hey, I want to do this. I already have wrestling gear. I threw every little bit I could, try to weasel my way in. And so fast forward to Halloween Hell. It was right before Halloween Hell. It was the Bowling Green before. And Chris had texted me while I was driving and said, hey, we don't have a lot of guys in the first class. Would you and Caleb like to come try out? And it was like that little spark ignited into a fire like none other. And I was like, absolutely. So I put in the work, went to try out. Didn't think I was going to make it through tryout. That was pretty rough. My back was killing me from running them ropes. Anybody that hasn't seen it yet or doesn't know, running ropes will kill your back, just saying. But it was really a surreal moment for me because I was like, I'm finally doing this. I'm doing it. I proved everybody wrong. And that was just one more thing off my bucket list. Prove them wrong. And that has really become a staple in my life now over these last couple months is I'm going to prove you wrong. You can doubt me all that you want. You can say what you want to about me. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Exactly.
And so that's really, I know it was kind of a long-winded spray train, but I'm a talker, so
well, no, see,
you were kind of expecting that, I think.
Yeah, I definitely was. and I want to touch on a couple things here because you were talking about, having these guys that you thought were your friends telling you, you're never going to do this. Well, that's not a friend. A friend tells you your limitations. Sure, a friend is honest. But there's a difference between limitations and crushing someone's dreams. I consider myself a realist, and it's like I was having a conversation the other day with EB All Day, friend of the show, former guest, hopefully guest again in the future.
Absolutely.
And he and I were talking about your promos, and he was like, Leon's got a good promo on him. He's a little long-winded. And I said, yeah. And he was like, if he can get that time down, he can get it in that with 90 seconds to say what he wants to say and get it out and deliver it all. I think he could really do it. And I was like, I do believe that you're correct. I said, and I'll tell you. I said, I only have one issue with his promos. And he was like, and what's that? He said, he goes, well, what is it? And I was like, well, my problem with his promos is that I know him. I was like, so when he gets in the ring and he starts being this heel character he's developing, I don't believe it. And I don't believe it because I know him. And Evie goes, yeah, but they don't. I said, exactly. I said, see, it's not about what I think. It's about what they think. I said, it's about what I think. This roster looks very different. Our champions look a little different. Like things that we do are a little different if it's what I think. But I don't have the pen. I don't have the book. I got the book in the BCTW, and that's why it looks the way that it does right now. It's disorganized. And, we mess up filming matches. But, that's something that people just don't understand about, like, honesty, is they think honesty means being mean, being hateful, crushing your dreams, and it doesn't. I do have, though, because of the time frame you're talking about of watching wrestling, I do have something I do want to discuss with you about, like, where were you on this? Were you watching wrestling when Vince McMahon was feuding with Shawn Michaels?
I don't think so. I think I picked up afterwards. Do you know what I'm referencing? No.
Okay, so Shawn Michaels was not a very good person.
Right.
He had drug problems. He had attitude problems. He had several problems. And because of that, that was his downfall. And it's actually one of the reasons that my controversial take about him is that his run coming back in 2002 was better than anything that he did prior. Because he was in a different mindset, even though wrestlers will tell you he kind of wasn't. Because he had found God. He actually came out in his match with Triple H at SummerSlam 2002 and in a shirt that says Ephesians 4:13. And for people who aren't familiar with the book, Ephesians 4:13 is probably the second or third most famous Bible verse. Number one being John 3:16. Number two being, I don't remember the chapter and verse, being the shortest Bible verse in the Bible, Jesus wept. Mm-hmm. And then Ephesians 4:13, which is, I can do all things through God who strengthens me. So Shawn allowed his religion to be used in a storyline, to where McMahon came up with his own religion, McMahonism, and he talked like a Southern preacher. Oh, hallelujah, and I thank God. And he would do stuff like that, and amen. And he would do stuff like that. And then he challenged Shawn Michaels to a match where Shawn Michaels' tag team partner was God. And Shawn came out alone. And Shawn wrestled the match. And then later on in the match, music hit and a spotlight hit the stage and just followed it down. And Vince McMahon sold it as if God himself was walking towards him. It was a very controversial time in professional wrestling. So we had talked about like what you'd be willing to do for your gimmick. And you said, you were open to everything as long as it doesn't involve mocking your faith. Okay, so I'm Chris Waddell right now, and I tell you we are going to have a match, and your tag team partner is God. Do you find that as an affront, as an offense to the Lord?
My tag team partner being God?
Yes, like that being the thing. It's like Chris is using your faith in his promos to cut you down. I'm only using Chris as an example because
we love you, Chris.
Because we love him, and he would turn that into gold.
He would, yeah.
He would turn something like that into gold. But do you find things like that as an affront to God?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Mm-hmm. Let me answer your question first. If Chris Waddell came to me and said, Leon, you're in a tag team match right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's me and whoever else he picks.
You are teaming with God. Mm-hmm. Okay. My answer would be...
I win?
No. I'm kidding. My answer would be, I team with him every day that I breathe. And even when he's on my side, I lose battles. But I will not lose the war.
And then that sets you up to win the war.
And then that sets me up to win the war, win the matches, beat Chris Waddell and whoever he's tagging with. But no,
I mean the war is in the over-the-top rope battle royal.
Ryan Ramsey ain't got nothing.
King Ramsey.
No, he ain't no king. He ain't no king. He's a peasant. Peasant Ryan Ramsey. Now, moving on. Okay, let me put it this way. I have a problem with somebody coming out to the ring, dressing up as Jesus, not laying a hand on somebody and working a match.
Oh, yeah, the Jesus with the invisible
I do not like that. However, if you told me that God was going to be my tag team partner,
right,
I would tell you that I live my life day to day with him as my co-pilot. So to me, I don't see a difference. It would be okay, I would think. But if he was like, you're going to work a tag team match and we're going to, you're going to work a tag team match with God and we're going to knock you out and then we're going to jump him. I'd be like, that's a little far. But I don't know. That's a tough one. That's one that I haven't really thought deep about it. I believe that there are ways that you could do storylines like that. Like if my storyline was I'm a plucky underdog who has been doubted his entire life like I have been.
Right.
And I lose. And then I have a come to Jesus moment. And then I'm in a 2-on-1 brawl. And then I end up coming out on top. Then if people ask me, well, how did you pull that off? Then I could be like, I had God in my corner. That could work also. So I don't know. It's raining. It's something that I haven't really thought about. I believe that there are ways that you can tie in the two. But I also believe that there's a fine line where you need to keep it separate. Like, I believe that there's a line that you do not cross. Period.
Well, definitely. I think all storylines in wrestling are like that. I think we can make anything into a storyline, but taste matters.
Yeah.
You know, like AJ Styles. I'll use him as a great example. AJ Styles is a man of faith. He started towards the end like cursing. You know, taking his glove off and showing that he still wears his wedding band under his glove and be like, I'm married, bitch, to Scarlett and stuff like that. Or him being like, I'm going to kick your ass and stuff like that. Him doing things of that sort. But he always drew a line. You know, in TNA, one of the reasons he left was because they had come up with a storyline where he had an affair with it cheating on his wife, and he was super uncomfortable with that. See, that's where I think we have a line drawn. And that's something I actually told Chris about you. While you and Caleb and Katie and Tabby and I think y'all's other friends were on vacation, which, you know, I got asked 100 times while I was there. They were like, you didn't go with them? And I was like, no, I have kids and no money, bro. Like, no, I have children. And then they were like, well, Caleb, you know, he's got a stepson and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but here's the difference. Caleb's a good little saver. Caleb's a good little saver. Caleb makes pretty good money. And Katie works her butt off.
She does, yeah.
And they afford themselves the free time. And Ryder's a pretty easy kid. If we were to take my kids up there, holy crap, one of them was going to die.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. And so we're working and we're putting stuff away, and I was talking to Josh Onyx. Game. I'm calling him Josh because I wasn't talking to Game Time when we had this conversation. I was talking to Josh, and Josh is a man of faith. And we were just talking about how, you know, you were wanting to go to that Christian music festival, which he revealed to me that he has yet to be able to go. That his wife and her family, they go all the time, and he always has to work when it happens, but his goal is to go. I was like, Leon wants to go, and he's like, yes, that would be amazing. Go, and you know, a bunch of us go and stuff like that. Would be super fun because there's a lot of guys there that are men and of faith. You know, EB has his faith, and Willie is strong in his faith and things like that. I remember when we asked Willie our rapid fire questions. Actually, his answer is why I removed it when I said if heaven is real. Now, I asked that as a subjective question. And
can I intrude for just a second and say he stopped you dead in your tracks?
Yes, he did.
And he said it is real.
Right, and that's why I was like, okay, I have to remember that while I am asking this question subjectively, because whoever I'm asking it may not believe it, you know, let's remove the question because there's a certain line that I could cross on that question that we may not be able to come back from. But we were talking about it, and Chris walked in the room while Josh and I were talking about it, and I had said something about that you were mega religious, and Chris goes, MAGA religious? I don't work with those type of people. And, you know, he's laughing and joking. I was like, no. And I made it very clear to him. I said, Leon is very strong in his faith. I said, he will do anything you ask him to do, except do anything that is an affront to his faith. And Josh is nodding his head, and he was like 100%. And Chris is like, that's respect. You know, that's respectable. You know, to have something that you believe in so strong that you will not waver. Which is what's really weird about professional wrestling is because in professional wrestling, it's silly. You know, it's not something that's meant to be taken seriously a lot of times, but it's so serious to us. But to be able to be in this business and have limitations and have convictions about things is rare. It's really rare, and I think that's another reason why I've been planning this episode, not only to surprise you, to make you feel what I felt at the elementary school the other day. That's what I really wanted out of this. Like, I knew I was going to do the episode before Career Day. I knew I was going to do it. I was like, but I wasn't going to do it until after you debuted. And I was going to tell you we had a surprise guest, and I wasn't going to tell you who it was, but it was a big name, and you were going to be super excited about it. And then when we started, I would say, they texted and said they're going to be a little late to the episode before we started recording, and then I would do exactly what I did today. Welcome to the Turnbuckle Weekly Podcast. We have an unusual episode today, our guest today, and I would give what your debuting name would have been, and boom, it was a whole plan. But then I had Career Day. and the looks on those kids' faces. You have no idea how many people have come to me since that day and been like, thank you for coming to the school and doing this and teaching these kids. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, this is a feeling that I've never felt before. I started having more conviction about this now, about being like, number one, this is that we do this for the kids.
Yeah, we do.
So like I've got to tone this down a little bit. I've got to make this where they want to, where they're able to see it. And I've kind of lost track of where I was because I'm long-winded, and I got to tell you, man, I'm super excited about this episode, and I'm going to tell you why I'm excited about this episode. Mm-hmm. And that's because I have another surprise for you.
Okay. And
that other surprise for you, I'm calling in right now.
Oh, God.
I'm calling in the other surprise for you. And while we're waiting on this, we're going to let the phone ring for a minute, and we're going to let him pick up. I'm going to lock it so you don't peek over my phone and look at who answers. When you hear his voice, you will know who he is.
Well, hello.
Hey, Caleb. How you doing,
Lord.
buddy?
What up, bro?
So listen, man, you're on the pod right now.
Oh, okay.
And I want to let you know what we've done, because we've been texting while this episode was going on, because we were actually supposed to start our new podcast today, but life happens. We worked hard last night. We're tired. And we couldn't find the time today. So today I told Leon that we were going to have a special guest because Cody canceled on us. Oops, I just let everybody know who it was. It's Cornerman Cody. We got him next week. He canceled on us because he had a thing to do. And so I told Leon we had a surprise guest. And when we sat down and started recording, I introduced him as the guest.
Oh, man.
Isn't that like, yeah. Could you imagine? And he has given about 40 minutes of some really good stuff. And that's why I wanted to pull you in here.
Okay.
Because I call myself Leon's tag team partner all the time. I call Leon my tag team partner. But to be honest with you, we're not a tag team. We're a trio. We've always been a 6-man tag. We are a faction. We have Caleb, we have Leon, and we have Casey. We are a unit. And I was like, what better way but to bring Caleb in here, bust his podcasting cherry, his hosting cherry, let you have a little bit of this with us. So I got to ask you, do you have anything that you want to ask Leon about this?
About just like the podcast?
Well, about wrestling, about the journey that we've been on and things like that.
Yeah.
The journey that you've been on with him.
Like for the past 5 months, doing this like journey together, doing this training together with Leon has probably been like the best 5 months of my life. Like just chasing this dream, chasing it with Leon. So, like, how has it been, man? Like, how is it, like, me personally, like, I've wanted to do this thing for my entire life, and ever since I was a kid, like, I watched WrestleMania 3, I watched Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, and immediately fell in love with wrestling, Like, what was the moment where you knew, like, you wanted to do this?
Oh, man.
Now, he glazed over this.
I glazed over
He
it.
didn't tell us the exact moment, and I'm glad. I want to thank you for putting this guy on the spot.
Gosh. I don't know. It's the exact moment that I knew for sure this is what I wanted to do.
No pressure.
Oh, no, there's pressure. There's pressure. Pressure!
Would it help you if we possibly gave our answer?
I think I know. I know.
Give it
when.
to us.
I honestly think that I knew set in stone that I really wanted to pursue pro wrestling has been since we've started going to the shows. I think it's been Independence Day and since.
So this has been within the last 12 months.
Within the last 12 months, I've really put the nail in the coffin that this is what I'm doing.
Zeroed in.
Like, there was no more doubt. There's no more telling me I'm not going to do it. There's no more second guessing. I decided that one way or the other, I'm doing this before my body says, hey, you're too old.
Right.
You can't do this. So I think it's been within the last 6 months that I've really been like, Leon is becoming a pro wrestler. And it's been since then that, like, we took Chris, my buddy Chris that lives in Massachusetts.
Yep.
We took him to the show.
We took him to Livermore, actually.
And he has been such a huge fan of mine ever since. Like, when he saw us getting love from Munchie and stuff at that show, you won't believe how many times he's texted me and like, been like, bro, I'm so happy for you. Let me know when you debut. Everybody at work is like, hey, when you debut, we're coming. I've got probably close to 20 people from work coming when I debut.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're going to want front row.
Plus my family.
Plus your family, plus probably some of my family. My mom will not be there.
Your
I
mother-
do not
your
hold
mother
that against her.
refuses to go.
I do not. I don't hold that against her. I don't. I've come to terms, and that's fine.
I don't hold it against her. I just think that she does not want to come out of fear.
She doesn't want to see me get hurt.
Right. But I don't think that if she came, that's what she would see. I think
Right.
she would see her son doing this
Yeah.
and following his dreams. And holy crap. But I will tell you, somebody that is coming to your first show is my mother.
Oh, cool.
My mother is going to be there because I told her your mother was not going to be. And she said, I will be there.
Oh, well, that's super sweet of her.
So,
But I think within the last 6 months, I've really decided, like, hey, I'm doing this. And especially since getting to know the guys and knowing that, because you can tell when somebody's faking a friendship, they're faking being nice to you. You can sense it.
you can always tell.
I don't feel that in that locker room.
Right.
I don't. And if there are some people that act like they like me to my face, but they really don't, no harm, no foul. You know, I don't think of you any differently.
Yep.
Whatever.
Hey, it's cool.
But I don't feel that way with
Right.
anybody.
Right.
So that's probably where I've decided, like, I'm doing this.
You know, I got to tell you, something I struggle with now that I've got all three of us in this room. Well, Caleb's, of course, you know, he's at his house, but it's not that far
I'm in
away.
spirit.
Yeah, he's here in the room with us in spirit. I want to share with you guys something, like what I experience in that locker room is I go to work on Saturdays. I help, you know, do everything. And then I leave and I'm like, wow, man, it's so cool that this group of people tolerates me. Mm-hmm. You know, they tolerate me. They don't like me. That's how I feel. They don't like me. They tolerate me. I'm a guy who they work with. They got to see me every Saturday. They get along with me. And then I get a phone call like I got on the way here from Cody. See, Cody blows that whistle. Mm-hmm. And Cody, you know, he's an ass when he's the corner man. But I told him that I honestly appreciated him canceling because I was having such a hard go this week with Jake being gone and everything. My birthday's Tuesday, and it should be a happy time, and it's not for me. He said, I'm going to tell you what, man, we're going to do this podcast next week. When I see you Saturday, I'm going to give you the biggest hug, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, and we're going to get this out. And that's something that goes into this, you know, our friendship, the three of us. I feel that way with us sometimes. I feel like you two are the tag team. I'm the guy that gets to come along with you. And then, then we go and we have fun and we do things together. And that feeling fades immediately. I feel a sense of belonging. And that is another reason why I love professional wrestling until my dying breath. I will defend this sport. I will defend this piece of entertainment with everything I have within me because of what it has done for the three of us. I moved to this town knowing no one. I had no one. I knew my girlfriend's family. And that was it. I knew nobody here. I had nobody. I had nothing. I sat in the house all day by myself, watching television, longing to have people to share this love with. And then I meet Leon. And then through Leon, I meet Caleb here. And I think that professional wrestling has forged a friendship that is going to last for eternity. I think our friendship transcends time. I think it transcends everything. I think, and I 100% give the credit of that to pro wrestling, to the WWA. The WWA, I will forever be grateful for them for bringing me close with a group of friends I never thought I would have in my entire life. I was not a popular child.
Nope.
I mean,
not by a country mile. I wasn't either.
I was not a popular child.
Same here, bro.
Yeah, so we're three misfits that got together.
We're the Three Stooges of pro wrestling.
And I get 2 podcasts out of this because everybody, an announcement now that I have Caleb on this show, Turnbuckle Weekly Network, not Turnbuckle Weekly Podcast. We are announcing the launch of the Turnbuckle Weekly Network. We will be an umbrella for several podcasts, starting with the new podcast, The Save Point, featuring ya boy and Mr. Caleb Roden here, talking about all things nerdum. Leon will be a guest on this show. Leon will be a part of this show. Leon will serve as executive producer of this show. And that is what pro wrestling can do for you, ladies and gentlemen. Pro wrestling can bring together a group of people with you which you will form lifelong bonds with.
And another thing is too, and I'm going to snap into a little bit of character development here for just a second.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you better say
Caleb's scared.
For the people that don't know, I told Caleb here a couple weeks ago, because he has a real bad habit of running his mouth and writing checks that he can't cash.
Oh my God.
And a couple weeks
we go from this heartfelt thing from Casey to now talking shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. When I'm talking, you're quiet.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Hit
Like
you
I
with a little
told
bit of
him
Miz.
a couple weeks ago, you cannot judge this book by its cover,
But you can tell the price.
but you can tell the price. But that goes, okay, out of character development. But that goes back to what Casey was saying. You know, pro wrestling is so good at that, and that's with our locker room. You can't judge any of those books by their cover. Period.
Yeah.
Period. You go in, and I was fully expecting to go in after training and go and sit down on the bench in Livermore on the wall, and everybody walked by me whispering to each other, going, "Who's that new kid? What does he have trying to be in this business?"
Hey, who are these new guys?
And it wasn't that. It was Josh was the very first person to walk up and say, "Hi, how are you? Glad to have you all here."
He was.
So, to put into retrospect, anybody that thinks that pro wrestling is not cool, it's stupid, or there's nothing that you can benefit from pro wrestling. Like Casey said, we have made bonds of a lifetime with people that we would never have the opportunity to get to see, to get to know. Can I say that they don't have their own flaws? No, because they do. We all do. We're human.
We all do.
Point blank, period. That's how God made us. We're human. But at the end of the day, when Saturday rolls around, all of our heartache, all of our failures that we feel, they all go away. The moment that we all walk in that door and we see each other, we know that our night is going to be incredible. And for those of you that buy a ticket, that are going to buy a ticket to watch anybody else but me, let it be known that I will really put in the work on these dudes' faces for your pathetic money, and I will get the job done. But
Real fast, Caleb, I would like to share a story with Leon that you told me,
oh no,
if you are okay with it, about in Litchfield before the war, when you guys were cutting promos on each other.
that one.
I want to tell him the story. I want to tell him where he is in his promos by this statement, and then I will let you expand.
I think I
upon
know
it.
exactly where you're going to.
I will let you expand upon it. So you're cutting your promo on Caleb. Caleb got the unfortunate task of going first. I never want to go first in a promo war. I always want to go second because you have the upper hand. You already know what the other person's going to say or what they have said, and then you can expand upon it. Well, Leon's cutting his promo on you, and he was like, I'm going to whoop you down or something like that in front of your girlfriend, in front of your stepson. And as soon as he said that, it's like a fire lit inside of you.
Yeah.
It did. You told me about that.
It really touched a nerve with him, man. Like, and that's what's fun about pro wrestling is the emotions that you feel from something that's not real. You know, it's so good. You guys are. I'm going to tell you this because this episode's also a little bit about Caleb as well. You guys have come so far in what you've done. I've talked to several guys intentionally without the both of you around so I could get a feel on what their honest opinions are, because I feel like they tell you to your face what they think. I just feel like they would it's better to say it to somebody first, and then that way you can get it out later. But the one thing that they've constantly said, everyone on that roster has said about you guys, is that you guys have done something that thousands of people have not been able to do, and that's last. And that's make it through first class.
Really?
You know, Quincy Strange, his class was 14 people. Then it was 3. And that's all that's left. You know, and I think even one of those guys is gone. So it's such an accomplishment that both of you have already reached already in lasting longer, number one, than anyone thought that you would. Now, see, here's the thing, though. Caleb has a little bit of an upper hand. I don't think anybody in that locker room looked at Caleb and was like, he's not going to make it. But I think some people in that locker room looked at Leon and thought, he's got an uphill battle, because they didn't know what you were good at. You're not the athlete of the day. You don't look like the athlete of the day, you know? You don't need the pump cover. You know, when you take your shirt off, we're not surprised. We know that's probably what you look like under there. Caleb wears baggy clothes. He takes that shirt off and holy shit, look at this guy. Like, and so I think that, and that's another thing, is that both of you have been able to exceed expectations in several ways. And that goes down to your passion. That goes down to your dedication. Something I talked about at Career Day at the school the other day was this business takes a few things. One of them is a sharp mind, and the other things are hard work and dedication. And I think the both of you have done so well in showing that you have those things and being able to have people who have been doing this for years look at you and tell you, do it this way, you're doing it this way and it's wrong, and being able to go, okay, and then the next class you guys come out better than you were before. Each week you both get better. Each week you both get stronger, and it's just gonna continue. So please keep doing this. Both of you guys keep doing this. Make this happen, because the sky's the limit for the both of you. Whether you're singles guys, whether you're put together as a tag team, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But I think you guys have potential within this company and outside of this company. I've told several people that Leon has no aspirations to work anywhere but WWA. That's what he said to me. This is where I want to be. That's great, man. But I want you to understand, both of you to understand, the WWA is not your ceiling. You know, that ceiling's only as high as you place it. You guys have the potential to go further in this business than you think you do because of these things. And it's because of that I'm proud to call myself your friends. In a way, your mentors for certain things, because I do have a little bit of experience in this business and in this industry, being your mentors in a way, being, you know, there with you on this journey, watching you grow. It's been an honor this entire time, and I continue to become prouder and prouder and prouder and prouder of you. And I just want you guys to know that. It goes back to something. I made a video yesterday while I was at work about Jake. because it hit me that, there's going to be a lot of firsts this year. It's going to be my first birthday without him, my first Halloween, my first Christmas, my first WrestleMania, my first Thanksgiving without my big brother. And so I said in that video that it's important, while the people who you do consider your loved ones are here, it is important that you let them know how much they mean to you. And I'm going to be real. There's been several times where I have gotten out of bed and been like, I don't want to be here anymore. I would rather, I have a lot of survivor's guilt. My brother, saved me from trying to take my own life several times. And yet he's the one who ended up losing his life young. And I have a lot of guilt about that, and a lot of regrets. So I told myself I'm not gonna let myself not tell the people that I love them. I get hit my vape now because I'm starting to get I'm getting a little verklempt.
You're fine, man.
But I just want you guys to know that, like I value our friendship. I value our journey together. Every Saturday that we get to sit in the car together for a couple hours and drive to the venue and then spend all day together and then most of the night and then go home and then talk about it the next day. That's what I live for. I live for it. When I couldn't go to Bowling Green last week, I was devastated. I was like, what? And it wasn't even like, oh man, I'm going to miss a great show. I was like, man, I'm going to miss a good time with my friends because I had to work a little bit too late. So again, long-winded way of saying.
I'm going to throw this in there, speaking of Bowling Green, because Bowling Green was, I know it was definitely a huge deal for me, and I know it was for Caleb too. Your boys made their first WWA televised appearance.
You did.
For split seconds.
Now, Caleb is actually present in the video just a little bit longer.
I am hidden in the background.
You are. If you are in 2 or 3 shots.
If you can spot my hat, you'll see me. And you can hear my voice clear as day. Just tell Munchie that it is not worth it to beat up Game Time Onyx like that.
Is it you that had your hand on him like
yes,
this? I thought
yes,
so.
I was the very last one to speak. That was... Gosh, it's so surreal because, and I'm trying not to get emotional. I know it's something small, but it was really big, I know, for me. It's one thing to go through training, but then it's another thing to be asked by your trainer, by one of the top guys, hey, I need you for something.
Was it Munchie?
It was.
Came to you and said, I need y'all for this.
And now that promo has come out, I can say it. The honor that something so small, something so minute, the impact that it had on me to be like, there's no greater feeling in the wrestling business than to be a newcomer but then already have a part in something that everybody's going to get to see is just so unreal. That was a huge moment for me. It was a time of a lifetime, yet so small. When we bought Mom's house back in 2013, the lady that lived there before us had put quotes on the wall. And the one hanging up in the bathroom over top of the mirrors is, the smallest things in life take up the most room in your heart.
They do.
And that has stuck with me for the past 13 years of my life. And last Saturday, being a part of Munchie and Game Time's promo, and Falcon 2, don't want to leave them out, being a part of that.
Yeah, you better not leave my broadcast partner out of this.
Being a part of that meant so much to me. And to hear all the motivation from all the guys in the locker room is so, so surreal. And I'm going to throw this out there. Love him or hate him, Caleb is my tag team partner, my ride or die. Casey is my other tag team partner, my ride or die. But to the entire WWA locker room and to the entire WWA fans, when we debut, we're making a statement. Whether it's a good statement, whatever. I don't think, and I'm not boasting on us, but you've got some great teams. You've got Natural Causes, Trend Killers, High Society, all wonderful teams. But my mission and my motivation is if me and Caleb tag, I am setting out to ensure that we are the best tag team WWA has seen in a long time.
And Caleb, I'm going to shoot over to you now because I want to know, when Munchie comes to you guys in Bowling Green and says, "Hey, I need you guys for this promo," what was going through your head? Like what did you immediately shit your pants, or did it take a minute to set in?
No, you got me kind of emotional over here. It was just one of those things where I actually wasn't as nervous as I thought, because he came up to us, or he came up to me first, and he got Leon beat. So I didn't know exactly what was going on. But when he got all of us here in that room, and he told us we're going to be extras, and we're going to break up game time and Munchie apart, at first I was like scared, like, okay, where do I need to be? Like, if I'm in the way, what if I'm too much in the shot? What if but it was like when it happened, like I knew where to be, I knew like what to do, and it just, all the nerves kind of went away, and it just, it's one of those things where, kind of expand upon what like Leon said, like, this has been like a lifelong dream of mine, and it was just an honor to like be a part of that. You can even see how like a promo, because we see the promos get posted on WWE just like everyone else, but like we don't really see how the promos are done, and
we're not going to go into detail, but I said we're not going to go into detail about that, but to carry on.
Yeah, we won't, but it's just to be a part of that, and it was just an honor, and it's just one of those things of like, I've wanted to do this for my entire life, and I always was kind of like told that I was too small, like we all saying like I'm an athletic guy, but I have some real anxiety problems and self-doubt issues, and through my entire life, like I was picked on for being too small, picked on for being too skinny, picked on for being weird. I was the weird kid in school. Like, I didn't really talk to anyone, sat by myself. It wasn't really until high school where I started to kind of get into myself, but that was like senior year. But like the one thing that like stayed consistent in my life was professional wrestling, and I always told myself like, I'm gonna be that one day, I'm gonna do that one day. And obviously after high school, I'm gonna go and be a professional wrestler. But after high school, like I went and worked in a factory for 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, and I did that for years. And I kept telling myself like, oh, you go out there, you're just gonna freeze up, like your anxiety's too bad, like you're too small. Like, I let people, like, what had been said to me my entire life kind of like affect that. And it wasn't until like I met you guys, like I met Leon through like my wonderful girlfriend Katie, and and me and Leon met like it was like beginning of last year we met, and he was like, we watched the Royal Rumble together, and he was huge into professional wrestling. We bonded over that, and through that I met Casey, and it was like of August or something last year where Leon texted me. It's like, hey, I have an opportunity. Like, there's this thing that we could do, and it, like, at first in my head I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I let people, what has been said to me my entire life, oh, you're too small, oh, you're too weird, you cannot do this. But then, like, while you're thinking, I texted back Leon and agreed to it, and then before we knew it, like, we started going to the shows, we started training, and it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Like, and same thing. Like WWE has been so welcoming. Like the wrestlers, the fans, like they have been so welcoming. So even though like when we first showed the first show that we showed up, I talked to basically no one, and because that's just how I am. You know, I'm a very, very like nervous guy. Like I get in my head a lot, and it takes me a while to open up to people. You know, but like. The WWE locker room, like, it has been like a family. They've been so welcoming. I've never felt, like, unwelcome. I never felt like I wasn't, you know, a part of the family. Like, as soon as we showed up, like Leon said, Josh came up to us and was like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how is everything going? You know, and it meant a lot because I'm a huge Josh fan.
That's your boy.
Fucking love that guy, you know? Like, he is great, and everyone else is great, you know, not to get heat, but, you know, I won't heal it up a little bit, but I just want to say, like, what Leon said, you know, if we get into this and we are a tag team, like, I'm going to strive my best, and I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to show why you should, like, cheer for us, why you should, like, believe in us, like, you know, like may not be the biggest guy. Leon may not be the most athletic, you know.
But that's where our styles are so different too, and I think that's what's really helped in our training is, you know, Caleb is so athletic, it's insane. I can speak personally, the things that Caleb can do. Looking at him, yeah, he looks athletic, but until you see it, you'd be like, well, maybe. But no, until you see it. And so our styles are so different because where he's flashy and can do all these athletic spots, you've got me who loves striking. I love clotheslining and punching and kicking and slamming and suplexing. And so our styles, opposites attract. And that's one thing that I really feel has really helped us in training. So,
but there's one thing that stays consistent between both of those styles. Get into was like we both have our different styles, but I think the one that stays consistent is we both have heart.
Yeah.
And we both have the drive, and we both have, and that's why I feel like you're going to see from us. You know, you're going to see guys who, you know, I'm not saying none of the other wrestlers have heart, but I feel like you're really going to see two guys who have wanted to do this for their entire life and have been told, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, there's no way. No, you can't. And you're going to see these two guys go out there and tear the house down and give it their all, because this has been our dreams. This has been something we have been working for, like I've been dreaming this my entire life. And Leon, this past year, you know, like he said, he's been going to the radio show. He's been dreaming of this, you know. So you're really gonna see just the heart that we have and just the drive that we have, and we're gonna give it our all. And I feel like putting the universe on notice, you know, the WWE universe on notice. Keep a lookout, you know, like. You're going to see something that you've never seen before, you know?
And to all the haters and all the doubters, like I told you earlier, we're going to prove them wrong. One way or the other.
And I'm just going to keep walking out and sitting at my commentary desk and being like, welcome to everybody to WWA Hysteria.
Oh, I didn't tell you, so I'm going to tell you because I know that this will brighten up your day.
Oh.
You missed Bowling Green.
Yes.
Poor Casey.
Yeah.
However, I wanted to let you know personally that me and Alexander Knight had a conversation. And he asked where you were.
Yeah.
And I told him. And he said that he went back and listened and watched the Hysteria where you debuted. And he said that you are so good on that booth. I wanted to tell you personally that you have got a super huge fan of you on commentary in Alexander Knight.
And you know, I'm going to tell you something. I've had so many people come up to me and be like, Hey, man, I listened to the episode, and it was so good. Drake Jackson, Dash Ricardo, Tommy Guns, so many guys have come up and been like, it was so good. And they all meant something to me. But Alexander Knight is somebody that he might be younger than me.
By a smidgen.
By a sea hair. He's a little shorter than, or he's a little younger than I am. But he is a veteran in this business. And to hear him say, wow, man, that's good, it means so much to me. Now, I'm sure I'll go up to him.
You're going to have to call him.
I'll go up to him. I'm going to wait till Saturday. I'm like, I heard you liked my commentary. And then he's going to no-sell it. And he's going to be like, it's all right. Yeah.
He will, too, because that's AK for you.
He's going to no-sell me, but it means so much to me, especially because of just what Alexander puts in to the shows and how influential he is over booking and what people do. Like, when you get into a program with Alexander Knight, like, that they trust you.
Yeah.
And so it means a lot to me. It does brighten the day a little bit.
Well, and I can relate to that too, because Alexander has come to both me and Caleb and said, hey, you guys are doing really well for where you are.
Right.
Because we've only been there, 5 months, but we haven't had to spend 2-3 weeks on the same thing. And so for him to be as young as he is, but be in the business since the beginning. Right. Since the beginning of the WWA.
Right.
He's a guy that his opinion matters.
He does.
If he tells you that you're great, you're great. If he tells you you're trash, you're trash.
Yep.
And it's not to be hateful. It's so that you can improve upon yourself, because he's passionate.
Right.
But I remember he told me and Caleb, he said, you all are doing really well. But he said, your self-confidence is going to kill you.
Right.
So to anybody, and this is a good place to end this show, I feel like, this whole show has not just been, the podcast in general, has not just been a show for two guys to get a guest on here and talk about wrestling. It has been a show to try to, in my way, to send some encouragement to people who don't have that in everyday life. And with me being the guest on this show today, I feel like I have a little bit of liberty anyway. I want you all to take it from three guys who have been doubted their entire life and have always been told that you can't. I believe us three here today can tell you that you can, and that when the world tries to put you off, find somebody who cares for you and will help you through it, because there is always somebody out there. If you do not have faith, I encourage you to find some. If that be your choice. I, again, big on my faith. Casey is trying to rekindle his, which I'm super proud of. I feel like I have a little bit of something to do with that, so that makes me feel like I'm doing my job. Caleb is a man of his faith. If you don't have faith and you're looking for something, I can tell you that there is somebody out there that loves you. But again, I can't force him upon you. I don't believe that that's right.
There's specific verses about that.
That will push more people away than people realize. Mm-hmm. I do not believe I do not believe in going on a street corner to any kind of congressional rally, any type of city event, and preaching to people that they do this and they do this and they do that and they're going to go to hell and God don't love them and blah, 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 blah. The only way that I can tell you to find him is to search for him for yourself. I will not force Jesus on anybody, but if they open up the door for me to talk about him, I will gladly do so. But again, I am not the judge. What part do I have in judging somebody? I don't believe in it, but I do want to let everybody know that me and Casey of the Turnbuckle Weekly podcast and Caleb
of the Safe Point
podcast, we are here. Our DMs are open. If you come to a WWA show and you see us, feel free to stop by, say hi, stop at the table. I'll be stamping hands. And eventually I won't have to take your money anymore. No, I'm just playing. But seriously, find some joy in pro wrestling. Find some joy in some faith. Find joy in whatever you can. I feel like this has been a wonderful episode. Not because I was the guest, but because I've really gotten to open up and kind of give my point of view on some things. But I want you all to know that we do care for everybody that comes to the shows. I know a lot of times people say, well, I love you, and they don't mean it. From the bottom of our hearts, the support that you guys have shown all of us, and just your friendly faces stopping by the tables and saying hi to us. I want to give a shout out to Richard Martin, his family, for being such huge supporters of the Turnbuckle Weekly podcast.
Yes, for autograph.
Wanting autographs from me, Caleb, and Casey meant the world to us. So many of the fans that know who we are, that have stopped us outside the doors or just even added us on Facebook. We do appreciate you all. This Saturday is Wrestle Roulette in Livermore, Kentucky. I want to publicly apologize. I found out that there are some people that are huge fans of my little videos that I do on our Turnbuckle Weekly page.
We will be shooting one today before I leave.
We will be shooting one. I want to apologize that I've not been getting those out. Life's been rough. I've been busy at work. My uncle passed away last Saturday before. And then we had his funeral a couple weeks ago. Or sometime. My days are running together. I'm still not feeling great. My mom's been sick a little bit, so life's been a little hard, but we're making through it, and we hope to see everybody this coming up Saturday. You can find me on Facebook. I go on Facebook at Leon Wade. You can find Casey at Casey Binion on Facebook, Caleb at Caleb Roden, and you can also follow the Turnbuckle Weekly podcast on that Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok. YouTube. Follow the BCTW YouTube channel. That's a little side project that we got going on. We are going to get a Facebook page, and
we have one.
A YouTube set up for Safe Point podcast, so you all can find it
for Safe Point.
But we want to be an encouragement to people on this platform. There's so many platform users today that they spread hate, they spread lies, they spread all kinds of rumors. We do not want to be that. We want to stand out in this world. Don't you tase me with that, so help me.
It's off.
It better be. It's my flashlight taser. But we want to spread some joy, spread some light in a world of darkness. So I'm going to stop talking because I'm long-winded, and we can turn what I've just said into 3 different podcasts. But I'm going to let Caleb say some final words, and then let Casey take it home.
Caleb, you got anything for the listeners at home before we sign off?
I mean, Leon pretty much kind of, he pretty much said everything that I was probably going to say, but I'll kind of expand on it just a tad bit. Won't be as long-winded as him. But, no, if you ever need, same thing what Leon just said. If you ever thought to yourself, I can't do something, if you ever thought to yourself, I'm not good enough, like I was saying, I've been told that my entire life, and I'm chasing my dream, you are good enough, and whatever you're going through, whatever, dark path, is going on right now, just know, it does get better. I know, that's something people say a lot, and it, a lot of people probably don't believe it, but it really does get better, and you just gotta keep pushing through it, you know. Like, they get a rainbow, you gotta have a little rain, you know. Like, you know, you gotta go through what you're going through to get to the good part. And just, if, like you said, if like Leon said, if you need anything, reach out to my Facebook, Caleb Roden. I'm not on Facebook that much, so, but I will get back to you. If, like, same thing with Casey and Leon, and keep on the lookout for the Save Point podcast. Me and Casey are working behind the scenes to get that up and going, and here hopefully soon we'll have the first episode out, and we'll get Facebook going, and we'll get YouTube going, and hope you stay tuned for that.
And all I've got to say is we love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thanks, Mom.